Welcome to the Sports Betting Preview Show, a pregame.com podcast. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, joined by Vegas Runner. It's NBA Finals, the Boston Celtics, the LA Lakers, the powers that be got to be happy with this.
Absolutely.
This is a classic matchup. We'll get the viewers. VR.
For every generation. I mean, the young crew loves Boston, the Lakers with the Kobe, the younger crowd. We lived through Boston Lakers series in our generation, and we all know the history of Boston and the Lakers. So this is as good as it gets for an NBA final and how they both got in there. Going to game one, they opened the line 6 with a total of 194. Came down to 5.5 with the total down to 192. Series price came out at over 200. We were at the MGM the night the Lakers beat Phoenix to advance, and the line at the MGM was up at around 230 or 240. I wasn't surprised because it's Vegas, a lot of LA people here for the weekend. They're going to bet before they go back home. So they're not going to let you get down, for cheap. But since then, we've seen this line continue to drop. I've seen a low of 180 at Bodog. I know books back east have it all the way down to 170. And I think between now and game one, it'll go down before it goes back up. A lot of Boston believers out there.
Well, Boston played well. We're going to break down the NBA Finals for you here in detail, Vegas Runner and myself. Also, we're going to give away a coupon, and so we don't forget. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's get
it over with.
We'll give RJ's money away. We like doing that. If you go to pregamepros.com this week, anything you want to put in your shopping cart, when you get to the checkout, use the following coupon: NBA Finals, all one word, and then the number 10. We're going to give you $10 off your purchase. You can use that coupon one time through. We'll have that run through Sunday. And VR, if the package happens to be $10...
On the house. Drinks are on the house.
Drinks are on the house. So go ahead and check that out. NBA Finals 10. That's our podcast coupon for this week. Enjoy it. Now, let's get down to the nuts and bolts. Lakers, Celtics, they both got here. Really both did it, I think, in different fashions. Boston looked superior for 3 games. Then
looked absolutely normal, average, mediocre.
They lose game 4 at home, a game that they could have won. They still had a chance, even as bad as they played. They had a chance to pull it out. It went to overtime. Forced the game 5. Orlando didn't want them celebrating on their floor. They gave a gutty performance, but then the Celtics took care of business as they should have in Game 6. Lakers, on the other hand, looks like they struggled the whole series with the Phoenix Suns. But really, if you break down those games, the Lakers, in the 4 games that they ended up winning, had huge leads in all 4 of them. Phoenix made a run in each one of them to
make them look like a game on the final score.
So, I mean, really, what do you take from that?
The truth is, coming into this season, going into the playoffs, Lakers were already penciled in as the Western Conference representative. If they didn't get there, it would have been a shocker. On the East, it went Cleveland, Orlando, Boston.
Right.
So Boston was the surprise team to get there. But the way they played through the playoffs made people believers, especially because of their defensive intensity and how difficult it was for teams to score on them. So now, with these 2 meeting, I think a lot of people, the perception is Boston has the defense to slow down the Lakers and beat them. I'm not going to, I'll tell it like it is. I put out a series bet on this. I like this series. We're going to pass along who we like for the series. Lakers got home court, and I think that's a huge edge. In the NBA Finals, 66% of the time the home team wins the series. That shows you how strong home court advantage is. And in every sport that settles their championship with a 7-game series, home teams win over 65% of the time. So if you have a strong home court, home field advantage, it's very difficult to overcome in the playoffs. Number two, I think the Lakers have a lot of size advantage over Boston, and their defense doesn't get enough respect. But because I was looking to make a series play, I really broke this down. And to be totally honest with you, Marco, I would say that the Laker defense is as strong as Boston's defense is. They're huge. They're monsters. They have 2 7-footers, where Boston has nobody over 6'11" on their team. That's an inch, whatever, 2 inches, right. But still, they got a big line in there for the Lakers. And they have Phil Jackson, something you can't just ignore.
The Zen master.
You saw what he did with Phoenix, how he figured them out and broke them down and was able to celebrate on their court. So I'm going to just get right to the get to it. I love the Lakers in this series, to be honest with you. Right. I think because Boston's history, because of their experience, they could make and should make a series out of this. But when it's all said and done and the dust settles, I think we'll be having a parade in L.A.
All right. Well, I'm going to totally agree with you as far as the series go. And, I generally don't play series plays. I like to,
game by game, sure.
Game by game, and we've been doing extremely well in the playoffs. I like the Lakers for a couple different reasons why they will win the championship. They've been a team to me throughout this entire playoffs that does just enough to get by. When they need to turn it on, they have. And last week when we did the podcast, we were talking prior to Game 5. So we didn't know, the outcome of Game 5. The series was tied 2-2. They were playing in, L.A., for Game 5, and then they were going back to play in Phoenix. And I told you and on air, I said, if something happens in Game 5 the way I expect it to go, I am going to have a monster play in Game 6. Now, obviously, I couldn't say what that was on air because, for the benefit of my paying clients. But I told you the minute we went off air, I said, if the Lakers play a tight game on Game 5, win at home in a tight game, they will blow Phoenix out and end it in there. And it's exactly what happened. I had a big play, you had a big play, and the Lakers went pillar to post. Mm-hmm. They came out, took control, and they had like
20-point lead,
and then it got a little dicey for a couple minutes late in the fourth. But is the Lakers
cream rises to the top?
They got the job done
2 times already this year, but both very low scoring games. So I wasn't surprised the total came down like it has. People need to make sure they remember Kobe didn't play in the game that Boston beat them. When Boston won in L.A. by 1 point, Kobe Bryant did not play. So that's a huge factor there. The earlier meeting, L.A. beat Boston in Boston.
We got about a minute to wrap it up. Are you surprised that the line on Game 1, the over-under, came out, the opener, at 194? I thought that was high.
Yeah, to be honest with you, especially with the second meeting between the two, 188.5. Although Kobe wasn't playing, so that was the reason for the adjustment. But since the first game was 194.5, their first meeting, it didn't even come close. The second one didn't even come close. I'm a little surprised it was that high. I agree, and that's why I think the wise guys jumped on the under right away. With that said, Lakers just played a high-scoring series with Phoenix. So I think that might have had a little something to do with it. You're going to look at the final scores and see that they went over 200 every game for the last how many games. So, I was a little surprised it was that high, and I'm interested to see the adjustments they make after Game 1 for the total.
Well, it's going to be a good series. We both, Vegas Runner and myself, we agree Lakers will be hanging another championship banner at the Staples Center. So look for that. We'll be back, next week. We'll still have some finals games going next week, and we'll tell you how it breaks down after the first couple.
Will they cover any of the games? The Lakers, like you just said, just get by.
Just get by. Hey, he's Vegas Runner. I'm Marco D'Angelo. This has been the Sports Betting Preview Show, a pregame.com podcast. Check us out on iTunes. Just search for pregame.com. You'll find us on iTunes as well.